Good day, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to a special end of year edition of Plain Talk. I am your host, Philip Edward Alexander. It is All Year's Day in Trinidad and Tobago and pretty much all around the world. Today's show, we are going to be dealing with our year in review, followed by our wishes for 2020 and our own personal resolutions. When we come back. And we're back, and I am joined in studio for this special end of year review with former trade unionist, attorney at law, and former General Secretary of the Congress of the People, Clyde Weatherhead.
Hi, thanks for having me.
He's a deputy political leader, and he is the deputy PRO, Anthony Defoe.
Hello, Trinidad and Tobago.
Chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Felicia Holder.
Season's greetings and Happy New Year in advance and good day.
We'll be joined on the phone by economist and Professor Patrick Watson. And in studio with us also, youth liaison member of the communications team, Akila Bermudez.
Hello, Trinidad and Tobago.
Right, so introductions out of the way. The conversation is meant to bring us some clarity on what took place in 2019. Clyde did his homework. He wrote a lot of stuff. So I think that I'm going to pass it to Clyde because maybe we do it month by month. I don't know.
I prefer to do it in pigeonholes.
Pigeonholes. Let's go.
I mean, you have broadly the economy, the politics, the culture of the country, and the social issues. And where have we gone in 2019? I think that's a big question that people need to ask. And largely we have gone almost nowhere because the economy hasn't gone anywhere. At best, it's hovered a little bit. We have had, in terms of the biggest contributor to the economy, in terms of oil and gas, we've had no improvement in terms of production. We have had...
But we found a massive find of oil somewhere. I didn't take it on anymore.
They said it was on land, and it's a pocket.
It's a massive pocket?
A pocket of oil on land. We've been drilling oil on land in Trinidad
for the
100 plus years.
Yeah.
So how much oil could there be on land? There was also an announcement of a huge gas find off the East Coast, which has prompted the building of a port in Toku to land the gas there rather than in South Trinidad. The idea that our current Prime Minister denounced back in 2000 and whenever it was that Pandey first put forward that idea of a port in Toku so they could land gas there.
Everybody rubbished the idea because of the rough waters in Toku, that the construction, to use an analogy, the juice not going to be worth the squeeze. The cost of the infrastructure you're going to have to put in place to manage the rough seas there. Has that changed?
No, nothing has changed about that. The fact is that the notion is being added that I suppose if you live somewhere in the eastern part of Trinidad, you could go Toco rather than come Port of Spain to go to Tobago. So that seems
so there'll be two ports going to Tobago?
It's one port, but it will have a number of facilities.
No, but you just said that if you're living in the east, you could go Toco as opposed to Port of Spain.
Yeah.
So will this stop the Port of Spain? Everybody will have to go Toco to go to
Mike, your guess is as good as mine, because that's what the anything this government says about a development, we have to guess because we are not told.
But I want to ask you something. Shouldn't the public take serious umbrage with politicians who say one thing when they're on one side of the aisle and another thing when they're on the other? How many things has this Prime Minister openly contradicted or flip-flopped on? How many things?
Well, the more important thing is how many things he has not spoken about. You see, the issue
That
is
he's kept his word.
people who are elected to office are supposed to represent us. They're not to represent themselves nor anybody else. They're supposed to represent us.
Clyde, that will never
The
happen until
point-
you could fire them.
So and
Until you could
and
fire them.
firing them reached the parliament a few years ago and got messed up. The right of recall was one of the elements of the Constitution Reform Bill
The Congress and the people
2015.
campaigned on that
yes,
heavily in 2007.
from
and then again-
2006.
And then 2010. And the promise was kept somewhat when Prakash Ramadar was sent on that constitutional tour of the country and had input from everybody. And when the public said what they wanted, the United National Congress used it to try and sell a widely despised runoff. So it was everything and runoff or nothing. So the entire exercise, all of the effort, all of the money, all of the time was wasted.
Yes, it was wasted, but what I'm saying is, from the population, that constitution exercise in 2013-14 was the largest publicly participated in constitution exercise in the history of this country.
And yet we still can't fire
And
the government.
one of the main things that everybody wanted was the
recall.
right of recall.
Okay, so I'm asking you this. If the public wants recall, why can't we get ourselves to this? Referendum is important to her. The way the United States use referendum, like to decriminalize marijuana, like we just recently had a decriminalization exercise. In the United States of America, before they go that route, they would have put it as a proposition on a ballot at an election time. So that besides the candidates and the different things you could have voted on, because even at a general election in the United States of America, the ballot can have other things on it that's happening
that's
in
in
your
the US,
state, that's happening in your state as opposed to nationally, and they also put national issues on the ballot.
Yeah.
And
But given our constitution, to introduce referenda at all will require a special majority.
but the People's Partnership had a special majority.
No, not at the point in time when that bill went to parliament. Remember, some people disappeared at that point. No, the thing is that is why those four elements went to the parliament, because they didn't require a special majority. So recall doesn't require that.
I had to stick up in there because we had to get back to the year in review, because that's the purpose of this show. But that is some interesting fact that you're giving us there, and it's something that we need to be mindful of, because, and the Progressive Empowerment Party says this, without a doubt, our first act as a government would be to amend the Constitution to include the right to recall elected office holders. That would put the power of the Parliament back in the hands of the people, yes?
Partly, yes.
You say partly.
Yeah. Until the electors can also select candidates, they don't have all the
You
power.
mean screening time?
Selecting candidates.
You mean
yes.
like when
right now
22
parties
You mean like
select
when
candidates.
22 party groups in Lavantil chose Nylon Hippolyte,
Right.
and we still had Fitzgerald Hines foisted on us?
Oh,
Or when the
oh.
Diego Martin Central Party groups chose Amory Brown, and we had Daryl Smith foisted on the nation.
Yes, and it goes much further
yeah,
back.
No, I just, that's the two that comes to mind.
I recall back in 1989, I think it was, local government election, Basdev Pandey promised the whole UNC, the party groups will choose the candidates. And then he went and foisted candidates on them, and you had 5 people run independent because they were thrown out as candidates. So it's not just one or the other. This is PNM UNC monopoly operating
I
the same
understand that.
way.
I understand that, and we really do have to get back to the topic. But the point is that people will take advantage as long as advantage is there to be taken. And
Because
until the public, we always come back to this, until the population of Trinidad and Tobago put aside racist, tribal, clannish party voting and get to country first as a means to empower themselves, we're not going anywhere.
well, I hold a little different view.
So how would you get to there then?
If the people of this country voted on the basis of race rather than a system was set up to make it appear so, then we would not have had certain things happening
I
in this
promise you
country.
early in the new year we're gonna come back to this. Yeah, stick up in a
Yeah.
Let me pull Tony
So-
Defoe into the conversation. Tony, for the year in review, what were your high points? What were the things that you think that were good, and what do you think these things were bad? Anything good happened in 2019?
You know, the Progressive Empowerment Party gaining more strength, more stability.
They rescued
Yes.
Petrotrin. They decriminalized marijuana.
That is the high. That is the nice point of this
They
year.
found $749 million in black money,
Yeah,
and they gave us bulbs.
And
Those are my
tanks.
those are your high
And
points.
tanks. Didn't, wasn't there this conversation
That's a high
about
point.
no,
tanks?
actually you're right. The local they won the election on the tanks.
For this space.
So we didn't
Yes.
get tanks either.
We didn't get any tanks yet.
Unless you live in Port of Spain, you didn't get any tanks. So what was your high
No,
point?
but you just listed it there. That was supposed to be the high points, but in reality, I mean, how much of a high point really it was? I mean, LED bulbs, is it applicable right now? No, it's not. Tanks, is it applicable right now? No, it's not. Nothing that was done this year by this administration thus far has brought any level of real, true benefit for the citizenry. I mean, we're talking about decriminalization of marijuana. I was one of the greatest advocates for this. And to see what is happening right now systematically by the administration trying to roll out this the decriminalization proposal to the population, really it's bothersome to me. I am cringing every time I hear these people talk, because at the end of the day they seem as if they have no clue as to
Bass
what
Accord.
exactly they are doing.
Somebody said it's a Bass Accord rollout of a law.
This exactly. You can't decriminalize something and you're now going to try to iron out amendments to laws, and look, you have people still sitting down in prison right now.
Because it was a stunt. They had no idea what they were doing. They grabbed a policy of the Progressive Empowerment Party and they tried to run with it, and they didn't realize that it required a little more planning and
a
understanding.
lot more planning, Philip. A lot more planning. This is decriminalization of
If you
a substance.
decriminalized and you still have people sitting in jail on a charge for something that is no longer a criminal act.
That the problem starts right there.
No, because now you have people jailed,
For
But do these
wrongfully
people
jailed.
now have a case against the state?
but they would have to. They would have to be. You are now taking away somebody's essential liberty for no reason.
Exactly.
107 people that the Attorney General told us about. I would believe there must be about 400 or 500 more, because in Trinidad and Tobago,
More
you
than
get a
that.
case.
Yeah.
More than that.
No, but he said there are 107 or 111 that only there for marijuana. A lot of people who get a case in Trinidad and Tobago just get them the package. You know, you get the whole combo. You get resisting arrest and obscene language as well. You know, and those things in and of themselves should not be enough to keep you in jail if the substantive reason for the charge in the first place was possession of a controlled substance.
By the way, Philip, the point is the bill that was passed, the amendment to the Dangerous Drugs Act, says that under 30 grams is decriminalized. So if any of those people sitting in jail had 30.1 gram in their charge,
Doesn't fall under that.
they are still on a criminal charge.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not a jailable charge.
It is a criminal charge.
Yeah, but
no, the fact is they are in jail. How are you getting them out of jail?
Exactly.
What the AG came up with is, let's go to the High Court, and then we go all over the place and get information on
It
who
took
is
3
actually
days to
there.
free the two little boys from Tobago. And somebody who...
Only by chance, because they were discovered to be in Trinidad.
somebody who worked what he called the welcome desk says you cannot process somebody out of prison in less than 3 hours. It's impossible. So if you're going to deal with this as your charges have been dropped, there are going to be people in that jail for days, weeks, months
After the fact.
after the fact that they are illegally being kept there.
Well,
state is committing
here's
a
an
crime.
easy way of doing that.
You are an attorney at law.
You call
could be making money off
all
this.
these matters in the court.
Of course, Clyde, there are many
And
ways.
the DPP, who has the power in the Constitution to start or end
All
every
matters. All
prosecution,
matters.
goes to the court
And this
or sends
continues.
his people, his prosecutors, and they said, Your Honor, or in the magistrate's court, Your Worship, we are discontinuing
Absolutely,
this matter.
like he did
Bam,
for the,
done, and the person
like he
walks
did
out.
with the people for the state of emergency.
Yeah,
Exactly like that.
yeah.
And the commissioner of police could drop the charges as well.
Not the commissioner. When you're already charged, police can't uncharge. It is for the DPP to prosecute. So the DPP can't stop the prosecution.
Police can't uncharge.
No, it can't uncharge.
So then what's stopping the DPP from doing this right now?
The AG went and hired a senior counsel to go to the High Court to do it. That's all that's stopping
So
it.
the DPP was not in the loop on this.
I don't know. You asking me?
So Clyde, are
Very
you
good
saying that
question.
this bill was just pulled out of a man
Ad
like
hoc.
hat? Because clearly what based on what he's saying and the time it takes to process a
Well,
prisoner out
you
of
tell
jail, the time
me,
it takes
when the
to
bill
drop
was
charges.
presented, Felicia, do you recall what the AG said in piloting the bill? That you could have 4 male plants in your house per house. The actual act, if you go on the parliament where you get the act that was proclaimed, it says 4 plants per person. So if 10 of us living in a house, we could have 40 plants.
Akila, this was aimed at energizing the youth vote. This was supposed to make all the people who have to hide and smoke weed feel like the government batting for them.
I still don't feel that if that is what it was meant to feel, meant to make us feel like, because I mean, I don't know much about like marijuana and the bill and all these things, but you can see clearly that something is wrong in the system. There's a glitch in the matrix, as they say, because you could just tell by the way that they talking about like marijuana and the male plants and how it's
Up to
gonna work. It's just-
decriminalization day, nobody knew exactly what was
What was
going on.
happening.
Yeah.
So you've amended a law, and the entire country is not quite sure what
it
did
is.
you exactly
Yeah.
do.
And that's the point I made, Philip, that it is not that people have flip-flopped. We have been deprived of the right to know. That is the right of citizens, and representatives are there as stewards. They are there to represent our
You're
interests,
singing from the same hymn now.
and they are supposed to fulfill our right to know. So this thing is decriminalized from X date when the law is proclaimed. Where can I go and get 29 grams of weed to
I
smoke
love that question.
in my house?
I absolutely love
Where
that
can I
question.
get where can I get 4 plants or enough seeds to plant?
Well, that was the first question that the Progressive Empowerment Party asked. Those 2 questions right after he announced it, and we led the conversation with that.
You
So I'm
know,
asking
you know what the answer was?
I want to ask you this.
From the Deputy AG, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines, Jah Rastafari. He said you could grow your 4 plants in your house, and 6 months later you get enough weed to smoke.
Right, and let's
Like-
So the point is, unless
like when
the
they
other
asked
bill,
him-
which is in the Parliament, was passed simultaneously, which could have been done, because
Okay.
you remember on the land issues,
No, but that was the
the AG
cart
said
before
we
the
have a
horse.
bundle. On this issue, we have a bundle, but on the weed issue, we have 2 separate bills that we are treating differently. So why didn't they either have the proclamation on the date that the next one is passed so that people can sell you the weed, or simply
Because Clyde,
have
they
the
got
debate at that
caught.
point in time?
They got caught that they were cherry picking who were going to benefit from
yeah.
growing and selling weed. that has become the galvanizing issue for all of Trinidad and Tobago. Where exactly are you going with this? Are we going to see 1% domination of the marijuana industry, the cannabis industry? Are we going to see weed smokers having to line up in super farm to get their drugs? And this became the issue that galvanized everybody. When you look at the ad hoc manner in which it was handled, because the first exercise should have been an education exercise nationally,
Yep.
so that the entire population would have known this is what is coming. So my mother would have been able to tell me, because she's paying attention. My mother likes to call me on the phone and tell me everything that she heard about in the latest law, or what the AG say, or the Commissioner of Police say, or the Prime Minister. But nobody knows. And you did not say that these would be the steps. That there would come a time when importation licenses will be granted in Trinidad and Tobago, so that this is the way in which you can qualify for an importation license, what kind of bond or storage facility or whatever. And you would have created an opportunity for small entrepreneurs to get into the business. That should have been the way it was handled. So that before it was decriminalized, actually decriminalized, all the people who were in jail on the charges, drop the charges, get them out, clean up that, get everything in a gear, so that when you have decriminalization day, people know where they could go and get their plants, and where they could get their weed, and those who want to smoke would have known where they're allowed to smoke.
But if you think about it right now, the way the law is set up, everybody who is selling weed is in essence breaking the law, because you're not selling weed 30 grams at a time. You have bulk.
Selling
and
weed
you
is a crime.
Well, but that's it. So you can have on you 30 grams of weed,
Director,
but they're not telling you
I'm gonna ask you.
where you're going to get it. Are we going to weigh something?
No, I want to show the public, because while you're talking, I want to have that scale here to make a point, because Clyde asked where we're going to get 29 grams from. But how you know you bought 29 grams?
Then they say the police, they're going to eyeball it.
But that's the point. Even that wasn't planned. Look at this. And this is a big one, Clyde? But this is a gram scale. So that when you go to buy your 30 grams, on the side of caution, by 27, and you watch it weighed, and
By whom?
by your seller,
Who is that?
your provider,
Who is that? Today, who is that?
your what they call it? Anyway,
Man who run in the block.
On the 31st of
I'm just
December
saying,
2019,
all of this.
or the 1st
No,
of January
you're right,
2020.
but
Who is that?
I'm just saying that all of this was done wrong. So when they asked him on the steps of the Hall of Justice, he said they would eyeball it.
Yes. So you are saying.
So you eyeball it, you buy it.
And then Fitzgerald said, grow your 4 plants.
And then a lawyer told me, if you got caught with weed and they tell you that they weigh it and it's 34 grams, delay, choose to go in the High Court. Because that evidence now going to sit down and dry up and lose water content. So when you come in the court,
Weighing 10 grams.
it's 16 grams. Where is the 34 grams? And all of that drama and all of
Where's
that,
the
That's
certification of the
nonsense.
police scale?
those questions.
So
But
the
they're
thing is,
eyeballing
Philip,
tint. They're eyeballing tint in the country for
Right.
decades.
and smoke. Emitting smoke from your vehicle. So let me put it here this way. The point I was making is in 2019, we have gone nowhere. And part of the reason we've gone nowhere is that we are still in a governance that is in crisis. And this is not a mistake that took place with that. It is not a mistake that took place with the $100 bill.
No, don't talk about this. It
These-
wasn't a mistake. That's an unforced error.
No, it's
No,
not.
No, deliberate.
When I said on Facebook a few days ago, where can I get my 30 grams of weed or my 4 plants or the seeds? This was a trap and a PR stunt. That's what it was.
Okay.
So Here's the trap. All these people now say, here's a government who love we boy, we weed free. Right?
I don't want to promote
But it's
myself.
not free.
I don't want to promote myself.
It's a lie.
But the most viral video about this whole marijuana thing was my video called Weed Lies. Because in that video, I dressed like Faris completed Pocket Square. And I cried for the nation to see about the dying senator. You want to ask questions? I asked Faris. You sat in the Senate with that man for 9 years. You were once bring up the issue of cannabis to ease his suffering. All of a sudden, you shedding crocodile tears in the parliament. You talk about little black children in the jail, and that whoever, this law was on the books too long. It was on the books 4.5 years longer than it should have been because of him. So when you talk about put out that information, weed lies, watch that video. It gone viral around the world because it exposed the government and the Attorney General for the charlatans and the stunt artists that they are. This was a progressive empowerment party policy. And when I tell you, we thought it through every step of the way. The audit should have been done. A decriminalization exercise would have taken a year. A proper decriminalization exercise would have taken a year. And if you were interested in decriminalizing marijuana, from the moment you came to office, you would have started putting those wheels on the ground, beginning with dropping the charges of people, especially when your prime minister could say the elites have been smoking weed without consequence. So you know that these little black children that you're talking about shouldn't be in the jail because the elites getting to smoke without consequence. And I said, until a Sabga, a Sami or a Hadid could sit down in the jail for a joint too, the entire criminal justice system is working against the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But that's another
The
conversation.
entire system is working against the people.
So we could say that on our year in review, that the decriminalization of marijuana failed.
It was botched. It was a
It
flop.
didn't fail.
Yeah,
Propaganda
because
too.
If coming into 2020, sir, if coming into 2020, and we are now being joined live on the telephone by Professor Patrick Watson. Professor, you're hearing me?
Very well. Very well.
Professor, we were just wrapping up to call you. Our position, the issue we were dealing with was what I said was the failed, but Dr. Clyde Weatherhead has a different view of the handling of the decriminalization of marijuana. But I was hoping to get you to weigh in on what your views were for 2019 and what you wish for Trinidad for 2020.
Well, I'm happy you're not involved with me in the marijuana discussion because I am not familiar with the legalities of it at all.
Well, we could jump right in that too if you wanted, though.
No. I'll leave that to Clyde Weatherhead and the other luminaries you have present there. Let me just say a few things about last year. Last year, I mean, and I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, it wasn't a good year at all. I know when the figures are shown, we will have close to zero, if not negative, growth. And let me say something about that. I think I saw a post from you, I'm not sure it was from you, that this is really not the best way to judge us anywhere, because whether we get 10% or 0%, it's how the distribution of the income goes.
Yes.
What has happened in the last year has been an awful one for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
But I need to interrupt you for 1 second, Professor, because you said that it could have been negative growth. Are we then back in a recession?
These things are just purely definitional. I don't know that we ever really came out of a recession. We went into something of an economic tailspin. What you want to call it? The economists have a very, what I call a very pedantic definition of it, that if you have negative growth for 2 or 3 quarters or something like that, I think you feel what a recession looks like. And when you look outside and you see what is happening, you know. You ask the vendors around Christmas time what is going on. You ask the people who have to live from paycheck to paycheck, and they will tell you that the economic circumstances are not ideal. You could call it a recession, you could call it whatever it is, but things are not looking up for the ordinary man. And throughout the year, there was a series of events, the layoffs. The most recent one is the Ansa Macal, I think it's Ansa Technologies, that has announced a visa plan. And we are not even too sure yet what is going to happen with the sequel to the Petrogen saga. We know that a buyer was named, but we haven't been hearing anything. I will not be surprised if somewhere along the line, maybe after the election and maybe when a new government comes into office, we may hear something. We may hear something different. But so far, there's nothing that can be happened. And then, of course, we are going to face, as I want to move in a way into 2020. We ended the year with this demonetization exercise. Now, I have heard all these arguments before, and from the very beginning, I told people that this is resembling what Modi in India tried to do, at least what he ostensibly claimed that he was trying to do, was trying to root out dirty money. What he succeeded in doing was slowing down the pace of development in India, of growth in India, of more or less destroying what we can call the informal sector, who were forced to come to the banks and so on, because close to 99% of all the cash that was issued by the central bank found its way back into the central bank, which means that there was no dirty money, of course. And I'm anticipating the same thing, unless the central bank wants to fool us with that. What we are going to see is the impact on the informal sector, where a lot of these small businesses, who some people feel perhaps legitimately so, that they should pay income tax like the rest of us, and indeed they do avoid the payment of income tax because they operate in what people can call the cash economy. That's the basis of it all. Many of them will be ruined. Now, I have a completely different view of the informal sector. Whereas everybody should pay income tax, I am saying that they contribute to the overall well-being of the economy independently of the tax. In fact, if you move them away, the total tax take is going to fall. And that's the general argument that I have. There's an overall impact on welfare that is negative when you negatively impact the informal sector. These are studies we have done at the university.
No, Professor, the entire economy is interconnected. And even if the small players, the unbanked, those that operate in the cash economy, even they push and buoy the economy upwards.
Oh no, that is a well-established fact. But you see, there's a tendency, what I call the public service mentality. Sorry, Clyde. You spend a cent and you lose it, everybody come down on you. You earn $10 and by spending the cent, people hardly ever hear about it. They will not promote you for taking an initiative that earns money, but they will condemn you for an initiative that loses money. And that is why people, the popular expression in the public service is no, they don't do anything that they're not accustomed to. And it's the same thing people have in their minds, that everybody should pay this income tax. And there's a truism about that nobody can deny. But to the extent that people are not paying it, and yet they are contributing to the economy, and they do pay taxes, they pay the indirect taxes like the VAT.
Well, I was going to ask you, wasn't the argument for value-added tax that it was going to lead to a reduction in
that was the idea. In fact, many people seem to forget, perhaps conveniently.
That's what it was sold us on.
That was introduced in the 80s, whenever it was. The intention was to eventually replace the income tax totally. In fact, when it was introduced, there was a drastic cut in income tax rates, and then it eventually, under Kwaitung, became a standard rate of 20 or 25%. I can't remember. But because the government is in such a mess and needs the revenue, every time this government now looks at a measure, it has nothing to do whether it wants to promote the economy. It is to pay its bill.
To pay bills.
Yes. And I am not seeing, unfortunately, any great change in that. There's going to be a lot of rhetoric. This is an election year. So you're going to see a lot of flim and flam. I think Clyde posted something the other day where he said some of the people told the government that they should fling thing. I think that's what what he said. So you might see a lot of flinging thing going on to buy the votes, because they may try to put on a brave face, but they got
Do you think that there's enough thing to fling to make people forget?
Well, they find it. I am telling you, they are likely to find thing to fling to suit the vote. That's what they want.
Professor, the $749 million that they found in dirty money or black money.
Hey, you believe that those things are not well established?
I want to ask you a question. If that was all over the media, $749 million, I want to ask you, who?
I am not sure.
How come nobody was brought to justice?
No, that's the other point. You see, if it is true, and $749 million is a joke, the size of this economy is in billions. You understand? $749 million is. I mean, they talk about a barber coming in with $1 million. All right, and I don't know how they could know if something is black in the sense of being of the economy. There are a lot of unbanked people. And that is what this exercise is showing. That money is unbanked money. Whether it is black or not, you could tell me a drug lord, that's pocket change for a drug lord. You understand? $749. And by the way, they keep their money in US, and they would probably have known long in advance that this event was coming. I would have been more prepared to keep
So you would say that the demonetization exercise was a complete failure?
Well, the figures are not yet there.
Has anything been advanced from any office of state to make you believe, besides the poor barber man with $1 million, anything else was accomplished?
Did you see anything accomplished?
There was supposed to be a political party whose members had double walls and vaults in the basements.
Yes, you don't. I mean, it could have been that they were intended to aim at the so-called corrupt Indians that Mr. Sinanan identified. He's a man making a lot of beautiful statements of late. I see he make a statement today that we should drive better, or some. I can't remember what it was. A truism, if ever there was one. And I see somebody mentioned, well, why don't you see to the potholes and this and that and the other that cause accidents on the road. And so I'm not excusing bad drivers because they do exist and they're awful. All right, that's simple. Especially some of these truck drivers. I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't know if it's a testosterone rush.
No, but you see, Professor, I don't want to go down this road too much. But our spatial planning, our traffic management is woeful and abysmal.
Well, I mean, I don't know why we want to just repeat all these troops. You know, it's not that.
When they developed Chagaramas, after the Flugtag fiasco and somebody died trying to get to one event that would gridlock Trinidad, it was actually on the day of the Congress of the People's internal election, if you remember that, when we had the Flugtag in Trinidad, when Vernon de Lima ran for political leader. I remember because I was operating in Moncoko Road and Diamond Vale, and I had to be going over that hill. Trinidad went through that, and then they came and allowed such massive development in Chagaramas without doing a single thing to the roads.
I can't remember. Is that after take your word for it? After take your
Dr. Furlong, Ray Furlong, when you talk to him, Trinidad and Tobago has the ability to redevelop itself. Kirk Megu is an advocate for the development of the North Coast and we talk decentralization. Decentralization has been on the table for 2 decades. Move Port of Spain out of Port of Spain, the government offices that bring 200,000 people into the capital every day. All of these things contribute to that bad driving and that road rage. People not happy on the road.
No, that is true. One of the reasons, I don't come to your
Absolutely, I was going to say that. That's why we don't have you here in person. Traffic.
Because at this stage of my life, my body can't take that. I have to keep my body for better things. I can't take that.
All the ladies smile.
I can't take that coming on the road.
Professor, I don't want to keep you too long, and we had to go to our break, so I want to ask you. I mean, it's up to you. You can stay as long as you want. But I know you had other plans. I just want to ask you. So, would you say that 2019, I mean, how would you describe 2019 on a success and failure scale?
Oh no, I think it's -1 or something like that. It's very bad. And you know, the people are not foolish. It's why when they voted at the election time, they voted on these issues. The people who vote PNM will vote PNM, and the people who vote UNC will vote UNC. Even with that very restricted vote that we saw this year, which is typical of local government election, there were people who vote for neither, and they voted against.
Yeah, but you see, and I want to take you to task on that. 34% of the people voting in an election that could have been considered a referendum for the following general election. You don't think that if PNM or UNC had captured hearts and minds, that the numbers would have been bigger just for people coming out to show support?
I don't know. What I am telling you is the people will come out, and they will come out in this one as well, and they will vote against. Just as how they voted against the partnership in 2015, sorry. They are going to come out and vote this time around unless some miracle happens to save them. That is unfortunate that that's how we do things here. We vote against.
Honestly, what are your wishes and hopes for Trinidad for 2020? Besides a better government.
Yeah, my wishes and hopes go way beyond 2020. Yeah? I want to see us become a truly civilized society where we have to stop this thing about, turning on a standpipe for election and boasting about it. And every year we flood, and the minister will come and tell us he can't produce water. All these big jokes about an umbrella over the Navet Dam and all this kind of thing. We have to stop making ourselves into a laughing stock of the world. And we are truly blessed. I mean, we have, we lost some of these blessings now. The blessing of oil is likely to disappear because we are running out of it, and it is becoming less and less a factor in the.
Yeah, but Professor, we could have be poised and positioned with a Petrotrin. We could have benefited from the insane oil discoveries taking place in Guyana right now. Even if we had gotten a small lash, it would have still be massive. They are bandying numbers like 82% growth anticipated in Guyana.
That may be so. The Petrotrin issue is much more complicated than this, and I don't really think that we could rely on Guyana, because like Exxon, and this is not the 1950s where they are looking for
the closest shop.
Yeah, that is not happening anymore. All of these firms are now, they have their refineries all over the place, and in my lifetime it's been a history of shutting down refineries. We had two in Trinidad, they shut down one, they now effectively shut down the other one, although there's some kind of thing about reopening it. Guyana is going to find a source of refining. And remember, Guyana's wealth is in its crude production. When you undertake refining activities, you have to sell that refined oil. Any country that produces crude, they sell every drop. I may be exaggerating, They sell every drop that they produce. When Chavez introduced the Petrocaribe, we had to then find new markets for our refined product, which we sold up the islands. We never had that difficulty with the crude. The crude is Guyana's best bet, and if they wish to refine for purposes of using it in Guyana, I don't know that. They can do just like us, sell their crude product, and set up a procedure such like Paria to import fuel for.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. We are pipeline away. I mean, no matter how you turn it, if Guyana does not have a similar size facility, and I understand that our sulfur levels to the ultra low sulfur diesel plant.
That's a problem. But why there are quite a few countries that produce oil that don't refine it, I mean, in many respects, in the old days, the US was like that.
So maybe in the new year, when you come here for us to actually have a conversation about the economy, we could drill down, no pun intended, into this a little deeper.
Sure.
Give me your closing comments.
Well, I just want to say that I wish, first of all the members on the panel a beautiful 2020. How do we say 2020 or 2020? I'm not sure yet.
2020, yeah, 2020.
And thank you for that,
Yes.
Professor.
My
Same to you.
pleasure, and I do wish everybody in Trinidad and Tobago the same. I truly hope that we survive this massive amount of incompetence that that we have been made to endure over this time, and it's posing and they are posing it as if they have been so competent, and they're going to continue doing that. They're going to try to beat us with the rhetoric when the reality. I see that. Who wrote an article? Was it Shah? I don't think it was Shah. The former minister, the former PNM minister, about the lies. And if you check that thing, it's really one lie after another.
I read that article. Who just wrote that? Stop the lies.
Yeah,
Ralph Maraj.
That's right. And this now, there are more lies to come. I'm telling you. Yeah, they're going to come.
No, but they got a lot of hits. They got hits from Selwyn Cujo over the Susu. They got hits from Martin Daly. I mean, the Blue Note fiasco. This government is serious.
You haven't seen the last of this demonetization.
No, you cannot, because we're waiting until December 31st to see what exactly happens after that.
Yeah,
But this,
how you're going to start seeing the effect now that people have put their money back. And
Professor, you said, and a lot of people don't get that a lot of the middle class and the smaller business people do about 90% of their annual business in the 4 weeks of December.
That may not be a desirable thing, but that is how it is.
That's how it is. And they're not going to be able to survive that fiasco.
No, all the business now, and they may now have to start paying taxes. One of the unfortunate things about the informal sector, about what we term the underground economy, is they really try to avoid taxes. I am not lying. I'm not going to pretend that is not true. But I keep saying their overall contribution is positive, notwithstanding their non-payment of income taxes. That's the point I'm trying to make. And if you damage them, you might find that they may end up having to pay income taxes, in which case they might withdraw enthusiasm, and you'll get much less than you were getting in the first place.
Professor, thanks a lot for joining us. Wishing you and your family a happy 2020 as well.
Thank you very much. Take care. Okay. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That was Professor Patrick Watson, economist. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will continue the Progressive Empowerment Party and guests having a 2019 year in review when we come back.
Don't miss your opportunity to advertise right here on the #1 political talk show on Facebook Watch. With an exciting roundup of guests and hot topics each week, Plain Talk reaches a monthly audience upwards of 500,000, putting your ad right in the hands and news feeds of hundreds of thousands of consumers. Packages start at just $500, which guarantees your ad is seen live, on reruns, and on demand. To book your spot, contact our sales team at 347-4737. The future of advertising is online, and that's just Plain Talk.
Antel is Trinidad's most reliable and technically experienced ICT company, providers of quality structured cabling, Cat6 data fiber, and power cables. We also stock cabling infrastructure basket-type cable trays for server rooms and data centers. Antel also installs and maintains video security systems including cameras, alarms, and electronic entrance locks for businesses and residential properties. Call Antel 674-1406 or 783-9250.
And we're back. This is the Progressive Empowerment Party. You're on Plain Talk, and it is our 2019 year in review. If you're just joining us, we had economist Professor Patrick Watson on the phone, And the panel has taken apart the decriminalization of weed and the demonetization of the blue notes. And we've touched on again that pus-filled boil that we've put on the back burner of Trinidad and Tobago conversation called Petrotrin. And we're refusing to accept the responsibility for the conversation, and I think until it is too late. But we need to face the fact, and I want everybody to weigh in on this, because no matter what games they play now to try to cover for it, Petrotrin was the economic driver of Trinidad and Tobago. And present circumstances, Clyde, as is, where are we going, where our energy industry is concerned, especially with a prime minister who told his handful of followers in a room that it is impossible to it is impossible to diversify Trinidad's economy.
Well, where we are going is nowhere. The fact is, let's just take a few facts. Our oil production is down. What's the company called?
Heritage? Paria?
The one that's supposed to produce oil.
Well, I don't know which of those they are.
The one coming ahead. Right? The production has not increased beyond the closure of Petrotrin.
Who owns that oil?
Right? Who owns that oil? The government of Trinidad and Tobago on behalf of the people through a company that the government set up.
And who owns that company?
The people of this country supposed to own it. The fact is that the production there is not increasing. BHP says we found oil in a pocket on land, not even out in the deep water, on land, where we've been harvesting oil for 100 plus years. So it can't be much oil. Gas is running out. Gas production is not where it was 4 years ago. And the latest bid round has failed. So there's no new gas to come in 2020, except what started coming in 2017. So that's that. The plants in Point Lisas are closing down. Once you can't put gas in them, they have nothing to process. So that's the end of them. What is there to replace that? BHP says, oh, we have some gas off the East Coast. Fine. The Prime Minister fly out there on a helicopter before local government election, and he says, all right, we're going to build the Toko port, you're going to land the gas there. I don't know what we're going to do with it after that, but that's what's happening. So oil and gas is on the way out. There's no new production in agriculture. There's no new production anywhere. In fact, manufacturing...
We've diversified into nothing.
Manufacturing is
We've diversified
slow.
into nothing. There is no accounting for jobs. We were talking off air about the fallacy that is the murder count. Nobody knows what it is. I remember when the People's Partnership was in office, the Guardian had a ticker running on the top of their paper, and every single day, like a cricket score, you'd know.
Well, they've gone back to that.
We have that. We have it again.
Yeah, Guardian has gone back to it.
What is the current number now?
It's 533 today.
Is that an accurate telling of the situation? Some people believe that it is erroneous.
Well, accurate or inaccurate, it is.
It's still a very ridiculous number.
533 is 17 less than the highest ever murder toll in this country in 2009.
Who should pay that price?
Who should pay that price?
Who should have to lose their job for that?
Everybody from the Prime Minister back,
I like that.
including the good Gigi, who, evoking the ghost of Randolph Burrows, has taken to posing over dead bodies.
I still gonna defend him.
Yeah, you defend him.
I'm gonna defend him, and I'll tell you why I'm gonna
You defend him all
In
you
the
wish.
Listen,
The fact
none
is,
of the things that he said, where the justice system is concerned, where the media is concerned, none of those things. The one thing that he's not saying, and I don't know why he's not saying it, is that until they close the borders, we're not solving crime. Until they close the borders.
you defend him and he will keep not saying it.
But you see,
So
he's the
that's the
commissioner of
point.
police on land, not in the sea.
Yeah, he's the commissioner of police. And we were told by
The
the Prime
Minister
Minister
of National Security,
that appointing
the
a
Minister-
commissioner of police is the solution to crime in Trinidad and Tobago. Weren't we
Yeah,
told
but
that?
we knew that going in, Klein,
Weren't
that
we
that
told
was
that?
not the solution to
Fine.
crime in this country.
We all knew that. But the point is, that is what we were sold. And that's what I keep saying.
Yeah, but what
in
we've
2019,
been sold a lot of
as
things,
in
though.
Well, let me make this
2018,
point, though, 'cause it's important.
We have
we have been sold a set of ideas by our quote-unquote elected leadership, which
That
are
is
not
not selling.
speaking,
They don't
which
sell.
are not speaking the truth
Right, that is not
to
selling.
us.
That is not selling. They don't have to sell. They give us. You take that. We is the boss.
Well, if you sell for no prices,
elected
still sell it.
dictator. You were going to say something.
I was going to say we have been sold many things in this country. I mean, we just discussed the whole decriminalization of marijuana, how they botched that, the change,
They
the
haven't botched it.
demonetization. Okay, but that's a different topic. But I want to stay on this though. We've been sold many things, and we knew going into this situation that just appointing a commissioner of police who was going to attack the criminals wasn't the only answer. We needed to have a three-pronged approach with the commissioner of police. We needed the justice system to work, and that in order for that to happen, we need the parliament to actually work, and we need a government that has political will to close the borders, to assist Gary Griffith in this. You can't be cleaning up the street of guns and then 10,000 more coming tomorrow. You're literally going nowhere. You go 2 steps forward, 10
He probably never
backwards.
explained where he got the count that there were 37,000 illegal guns in Trinidad and Tobago in 2017. He said 37,000 illegal guns, and I've been asking since, who did the stock check?
Who did he stock check?
How
And
does he know that number? When Dylan said 57 women were trafficked, how does he know that number? This is what the media fails the country with, you know. People think I like to lash the media. This is the media's job. When you tell me that, I have to ask you, anybody who's ever raised a child know that children go through the why phase. No matter how you tell them, they're going to ask you why. Until you either satisfy them or they frustrate you. But the media's job is that. The media's job on behalf of the people is to ask, Mr. Prime Minister, 37,000 illegal guns. From where? From who? How do you know this? What is being done about it? Mr. Dillon, 57 of our women were trafficked. How do you know this? Give us the 57 names. He said in Parliament that 57 women were trafficked. So if you could say that and read that into the Hansard, those 57 women have names.
And better,
Tell me who was trafficked.
better yet, what is the status of them today?
That is the obvious follow-on question. But what I'm saying is, the media were remiss and incompetent by failing to ask the minister, who are these 57 women? Trinidad don't know.
So Philip, who did the count when Patrick Manning and his National Security Minister
Martin Joseph.
told us how many thousand people were in X number of gangs? Today we have anti-gang legislation
Built on those numbers.
for the second time,
Yeah.
right? And how many people have been taken to court?
Who
Six,
did that? Who did that census? There is a joke where a child was in a post office and was looking at the wanted posters, and he asked his father, "Who were those people?" And he said, "Those are people that the police are looking for." And he asked, "Why they didn't keep them when they took the picture?" Who did the census?
So that's the
How
point.
do you know? How did they arrive at the numbers? I am saying to Trinidad and Tobago, it is all bullshit from on top. That's what it is. It's government by lie, by untruth, by deceit. Your Prime Minister, his Minister of National Security, your Attorney General, your Minister of Finance, and every one of the band of that plague that is the government of Trinidad and Tobago right now.
And since 1962, it has been government by deceit. What has happened in 2019 is
Okay,
that
I agree.
crisis,
Clyde, I cannot
that
disagree.
crisis has not been
Clyde,
solved. It is
57
getting
years.
worse.
57 years of mismanagement, incompetence, malpractice, dysfunctional government. We agree. Let us, as they say, eat the elephant one bite at a time. The bite in front of us is the government and the opposition. Trinidad and Tobago has a responsibility to itself now to put the nonsense aside. You, me, Tony, Aquila, Felicia, it's not business as usual anymore. Trinidad, you lose 5-year chunks of your life, election after election. You've lost 10 years of your life between Kamala and Rowley alone. That's 10 years. Manning Pandey, Kamala Rowley, 20 years. When that fiefdom started, I was a much younger man with life unfolding in front of me. I cannot squander any more of my 5-year chunks of time. Who can? Who can? When you look at Manning Pandey, Kamala Rowley, and public health, all fail. Don't tell me you build another hospital when not one of the hospitals work. All fail. Manning Pandey, Kamala Rowley, water, all fail. We've had people become multi-millionaires in Trinidad and Tobago selling pumps and tanks that are the band-aids and the salves for a problem that should have been solved 20 years ago. It should have been solved when Bywater and Emru Millet was in Trinidad and Tobago. Remember that? Remember that?
Yeah, I was there. I was in Wassa then.
Good.
I was
So
on
it could have been
Wassa
solved
board
then.
in
The central
1955 to
solution.
97.
Think like a child. Where the water collected in the flood, build the dam there. They make a joke. Our director, Sati, she said, if rain falling and you worry about flooding, go and build your house in Wassa Reservoir. No rain falling there. No rain falling there.
That's why I asked the question last week. Have we put the dams in the wrong
want to
place?
say it-
Or has the rain
I want
moved?
to say it to you again. I want to say it to you again. It is an injustice, an insult to intelligence to believe that the same 10 prestige schools remain prestige schools under Manning Pandey, Kamala Rowley, and nothing changed to elevate the rest.
And Williams.
I'm talking about this bite of the thing here. I'm just talking about this 57 years of mismanagement. Eric Williams was a buffoon. He was a fool. What we've inherited was squandermania, theft, corruption, and a nation broken by deliberate design. I agree on all of that. But let's just look at talking to Trinidad and Tobago now. Manning, Pandey, Kamala, Rowley. Tell me, how many children? We have 200,000 children in the school system at any one time. Wayne Stewart said 7,000 fail out every year that go on to become criminals. Some get a little opportunity. But if you don't have passes, you can't pack fries in KFC. So let's look at the truth. If 7,000 fail out in the 20 years of Manning Pandey, Kamala Rowley, 140,000 people with nothing, how they living? And we want to know where the homeless coming from, where the criminals coming from. People who have the same needs as everybody else. And Trinidadians going back with a level of insanity that I do not understand, voting for the same people who were in power when nothing was fixed.
Because those same
Explain.
people are selling them
Explain.
a
No, you
mirage,
can't tell me that.
a false hope.
When I was a much younger man, you could have sold me stupidness. Along the way, I had a responsibility myself to say, wait a minute, this not making sense.
Yeah, but it's a
That's 20
million,
years
a
of
million, a million and a
bullshit
third of
going
us. And if in the United States with more millions than us, they could have sold Donald Trump.
Now you see
admit
again,
they could
again.
sell
I
us
want,
that.
I want, you know what I want to stop doing. I want to stop using analogies, conflations, comparisons. I want to look straight into the maw of the beast that is Trinidad and Tobago.
And the
We-
beast is the same beast that is in
Gregory
England, that is in
Abu
America.
of
and
Doma.
all place.
Gregory, I want to name them. Gregory Aboud of Doma knows that the solution to traffic in Trinidad and Tobago is the removal of all government offices from Port of Spain. That is the solution. You remove the government offices from Port of Spain, the 250,000 people that drive into Port of Spain and out of Port of Spain every day will no longer be contributing to transnational traffic. When school is closed, we have no traffic. So decentralize all the schools, zone them, go back to community schools, remove the child abusing SEA. They've known all of this. I've been hearing all of this. There are few things that we've invented on our own. I have known that the solution to the narcotics trade in Trinidad and Tobago has been to close the borders of Trinidad and Tobago. There is a plan sitting on Stuart Young's desk. I know because I saw it when it was sitting on Minister of National Security Gary Griffith's desk. And there are plans that have been quoted and bid on by as far away as China, and local by Jimmy Fifi, who used to operate in the warehouse that they took back and gave to the army. They wanted to build, repurpose the drill rigs and secure this nation's borders, similar to how it is outside New York City. You think you could motor a boat up into any river in New York City without permission? They will sink you from the sky. Why it is Manning, Pandey, Kamala, and now Rowley have used it as a bullshit excuse to enrich people who are agents for Incat and Ostal to keep buying boats to send to Colm's Friends graveyard in Chaguaramas instead of securing the borders. We have 10 barges parked up outside down the islands, DDI, that costed $110,000 a month each rent to park up there. We will never need them again. Repurpose them for the Army, the Coast Guard, Immigration, Customs. 3 miles out at sea, make a ring around Trinidad and Tobago, connect it with Sonar Boys and the 360-degree radar, equip them with fast attack helicopters and interceptor boats. All of this would end the drug trade, the gun trade, the human trafficking trade, and we've known this. Clyde, I am asking you
people
again.
Who are living off that trade will no longer live off of it.
So the people who are living off of that
And
trade.
the people who run the politics of Trinidad and Tobago.
So you're telling me that the Ministry of National Security and the National Security Council do not know who those people are?
They do, but that is the boss. That's what I'm saying.
So you're saying that the people of Trinidad and
You can't
Tobago,
say that
I am
Burma
asking
knows
you a
this
question.
and the 1% knows this.
Clyde,
and
this is
then
my
don't
last.
believe it.
This is
It's
my
the
last.
truth.
This is my last question for the show. Are you saying to me that the people of Trinidad and Tobago have been voting into office
The representatives of the
people who are
1%.
manipulated by organized crime?
They're not manipulated, they work for them.
They are the organized crime.
Take over.
So, these people run the country. They run the economy.
Organized crime is running Trinidad and Tobago.
They run the country, including
Criminal
organized crime.
enterprise is running Trinidad and Tobago. And Keith Rowley don't know that.
You think he don't know that?
Stuart Young don't know that.
Did he write a manifesto in 2015
Faris
saying
Al-Rawi,
these
the
are all
Attorney
the things we
General who
have to do
fronts
to
the
solve crime?
Nahus family's business interests in Trinidad and Tobago, who want to come up with every single new plan to deny bail to little black boys? I want to tell you something. That is not the solution to crime in Trinidad and Tobago. End the man-made poverty, end that is caused by the manipulation of the value of our currency alone. Just that. We
And
work.
who is doing these things, Philip? That's the point I'm making.
So when people
This
ask
society
me,
is not
when
organized
people
for
ask me
us.
what is the solution,
It's organized for
the
1%.
solution is this: you either continue to vote for the system that puts crime in your own community, or you vote a government into office that is willing to tear that playhouse down. Vote yourself a better country. A better country means secure the borders and end the drug trade. Move the port of Port of Spain out of Port of Spain. 90% of the containers that come off the port of Port of Spain have to leave Port of Spain as traffic. We have mass of land now. Yara closed down. The whole of Point Lisas emptying itself out. Move the port of Port of Spain to Point Lisas. Create 10 sheds for the offloading and unstuffing of all containers. Because besides the shutting down of the nation's borders, unstuff every container. Unstuff them on the port. Not scan, not sniff. Unstuff and truck. So that we will identify and prosecute all those involved in the criminal narcotic enterprise that has destroyed this country. It is drug money that has corrupted public offices in this country. Dirty money that could have been spent anywhere. that come into Trinidad and Tobago in washing machines, in tires, in car parts, that is imported from Mexico, Colombia, and Venezuela. That dirty money, that is US dollars, that this demonetization exercise wasn't set up to hold, that needs to stop. You need a government that is willing to put an end to all of that, Clyde.
And I'm saying to you, Philip, in 2019, the fact that we have gotten no closer to that solution is what we have to understand of 2019. At the end of 2019, we had an election pretty close to the end. You said it should have been a referendum.
But it was sold as one. Spent
It was sold,
$128 million on it.
You
It
think
was a $128 million local government
million?
election. When people tell me, does it turn out you expected? I tell them, nonsense. The PNM and the UNC expected mass numbers. That's why they spent $128 million.
It had to be much more than that. The fact is that on every election, for the last several elections, between the PNM and the UNC, they spent $500 to $600 million. $500 to $600 million between them.
Yeah, but
So
some of
the
that
fact is,
some of that is not a real spend, because
the
some of that is
fact is
contribution from the media houses, because that's where all
that
the money goes.
the spending in the local government election, plus we were told, selling the idea again, we are getting the job done. And the other side say, they ain't getting it done, so put we there in 2020.
So they can work. What
So,
work they do? Clyde,
the fact is that that local election proved
Clyde, there
that
are
they have
too
not
many
been
good
able
people.
to solve
Tony,
the crisis.
Tony, jump in this conversation. There are too many good people in this country for this to be how this country ends. Trinidad will fail if we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, do not move us away from this criminal enterprise that runs Trinidad and Tobago.
Very correct. Very correct. It is up to the people. Is the only thing we can do is create the platform for the people to be able to gravitate to realize that what we are presenting in the public space is something that will directly benefit the citizenry and on a national level as well. And I think, again, that is why mainstream media and these media houses are working so hard tirelessly to allow for PEP's message not to get out there into the public space. Because again, if it is out there in the public space on a national level, we would not have a PNM or UNC to talk about today. Because at the end of the day, people will gravitate towards PEP, because again, neither one of the PNM nor the UNC has a holistic plan in actually giving Trinidad and Tobago a national direction, a national agenda, where we can bring some level of betterment, not just to the citizens, but again, creating a system which allows everything to work, as how you would find you go England, Canada, America, as second-class citizens, as nationals of Trinidad and Tobago. You have more rights there. Things work better for you there than you being a first-class citizen right here in Trinidad and Tobago. And again, we've said it before, it's done purposely for the system not to work for the citizenry. That's the bottom line, because they already have the agenda. The corporate class knows exactly where they would like this country to go, how they would like to pillage it, and they don't want anybody to step into the way of that. So again, it's a matter of bringing in all the underhanded money through the drug trade and the underworld, incorporating that within the corporate sector, as well as within the political system that we have as its fabric in itself. We're doing this 57 years, man, Philip. You know this. We talk about this all the time. And at the end of the day, it's our job. Yes, we worked this morning on the interview. We were talking, it's a mountain the Progressive Empowerment Party has to climb. A mountain. A bigger mountain than any other political party having to deal with in the history of Trinidad and Tobago's independence. And in fact, you can take every mountain that every other political party has, and the mountain we have to deal with outweighs all those mountains put together. Because we know exactly what we are faced with. We know, Philip, we know. We are preaching it, we are talking it. And the question is how are we getting into every single home, 1.4 million homes, and infecting the people with information? The information that they've been
Clyde said it's more
starved
than
for.
information. What Clyde is saying is that people now have to take responsibility for the country. to take responsibility for themselves.
Yeah, but if our message is not reaching a portion of the population, how are they going to be able to do that for themselves? Because again, they're still brainwashed. They're still being affected by what has been fed to them for the last 57 years.
And you have to reach them one
by one.
What
Correct,
about the
correct,
people
correct.
that
presently
we have reached,
in their
though?
face together.
What about the people that we have reached?
Well-
There was a video that Philip did about last week, I believe, when you were 104.7, and he told me to watch it, and I procrastinated. And when I finally looked at it, everything that he said was so spot on. I think
yeah.
Robert asked him, you know, he told him that, you know, Philip, despite all of this that you're doing, you're not going anywhere. And Philip told him, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but he told him basically, it's because people like you and people like me and people like others not putting their egos aside. No, you didn't call yourself, but people are basically not putting their egos aside and putting their whatever baggage that they have, that they toting, to come together to work to make this a country that works. And Clyde, I have to put you on the spot here because I respect you tremendously, and I think you have a wealth of knowledge that this country could very much benefit from, but I don't see how that is going to work if you're not one of those people who's ready to step up and say that you're ready to help fix this country. Because me personally, my outlook, and I jump in here because Philip didn't ask me this question, but my wish for 2020 is for a Progressive Empowerment Party government, if only for the chance of getting something different. Because what we have experienced for the past 20 years, as looking at it, writing it down, Patrick Pandey, Keith Kamler, what we have gone through for the past 20 years, I loathe to think the next generation for the next 20 years have to repeat. I can't think of Akila's young daughter growing up in a country where we still have to we have to celebrate getting water tanks and we can't even solve a water problem. I can't think of that. And people, I believe people with your kind of knowledge, people with Robert Amar's kind of knowledge, Professor Watson's kind of knowledge, I would love to see those people under one umbrella. And this is a metaphorical umbrella here, because it doesn't have to be the Progressive Empowerment Party, but I'd like to see these people putting that knowledge and passion for country together to making this work, to fixing this shithole. I have to say this shithole, and I'm being very frank, because this is a shithole. And we can nice it up, we could decriminalize weed, we could change the bills and make it look pretty. This is still a shithole, and spraying perfume over it, I'm not gonna fix it. That's just my 2 cents of 2019.
Well, as long as the rights of the people are not fulfilled, it will be a shithole, and it will continue. Let me just give you 2 little points here. Big fish will be caught before the end of the year, 2019.
Because of Baba.
That is before tomorrow, right? Before New Year's.
That's Baba.
That was said in June. In November, the same man said, TNT is like a war zone.
Who is the man that said that?
Stuart Young, the Minister of National Security. So, 6 fishermen were killed, and the bodies started washing up on the shore. Right? That was in one night? One night?
A weekend, I think it was over
Right.
a weekend. It got
No, some
The
men
actual
went out there.
execution was
Yeah.
in one thing.
Right? Between Christmas Eve and Boxing Day, 16 plus people were killed in this country. 16 plus.
Clyde, well,
So-
I want to tell us a bit what I said off
And
air.
this man who
Clyde,
I
I want to
just
say this.
quoted,
No, I want to say this. What I said to you off air. As long as the people who are being murdered are black, Trinidad okay.
precisely.
If those 16 people were white or Syrians, the whole country talking crime and murder, and what is the solution? But black skin in Trinidad and Tobago has allowed itself to become less valuable and is voting into office a government that underscores that.
and you know, if it was 16 people who belong to the 1%, it's not the whole country will be doing that. It is the same 1% who owns the media, who will carry the conversation for the country,
When
who will make
Candace
it an issue.
Carrington Scott and Sarah Gomes were killed,
So
the 1% marched to the president's house,
yes,
and Chuck Atten and the
and
other
they
boy
setting the
ended
agenda
up in
and
jail one
the
time.
time in 2020, and that is my only wish, that the
So
people
I'll
of
say
Trinidad and
this,
Tobago
listen to you.
begin to
Stop
set
saying
the
people.
agenda.
Stop saying the people. Start talking about black Trinidad and Tobago. Because black Trinidad and Tobago, that when the people talk and they say, yeah, but I'm still going and vote PNM, black Trinidad and Tobago have to reject that. Black Trinidad and Tobago have been the worst. Morva, Beetham, Laventil, Sealots, Belmont, Gonzales, Patna, River Estate, Covine, Rich Plain, Mason, Factory Road, Saganga, La Puerta, Adipujad, Big Yard, Scorpion, Point Cumana, St. Peters, Never Dirty.
Yeah, well, Chaguanas.
Waterhole. No. I just talking up here.
They're going to vote for UNC.
Bossman.
So what was the issue?
Bossman, I talking about the
and
mass.
I'm saying politics
You cannot
is not
no. The mass of humanity that lives on the bottom rung of Trinidad and Tobago, black Trinidad and Tobago, they are the reason the politics not changing. Morgan Joe went to his grave making the point that until black Trinbago wake up to the fact that there is no disconnect between the government and their condition, that until black Trinidad and Tobago could understand Laventil Hill born before Goodwood Park Hill, something didn't add up. They've left it to the point. I am the only person raising this issue. Black people calling black people stupid. They've chained them up to think that. They chained them up to think that Mokorapo Junior Secondary can't do well because black children stupid. But the same Fatima College across the road, they have black children and they're coming out and they're with 8 and 9 A's. So it's not that they're stupid. It's that the system is designed to keep them stupid, so that they will forever be labor and consumer in a country.
And that is the point.
How do I am not black, plain to see, how do I get black Trinbago to understand that all the bullshit aside, if they do not vote themselves away from the PNM, there is nothing to come.
And
all the CPEP, all the URP, all the HDC lottery, there is nothing to come to give their lives the value that if you pluck them and drop them in America or Canada, what Tony just say? Your life is just shoot up in the air. You get a work, and as you get a work, you open a bank account with your little minimum wage, $2,800 US. You open a bank account with $2,800 US, 19 bank call your phone. You know they get your number. Boss, you're pre-qualified, you know. You're pre-qualified. Just tell me where to send the card.
so you could be a consumer.
Boss
there.
man, I'm telling you, my brother-in-law, my
You're
sister,
transferring the consumerism from here to
my
there.
sister's
The
daughter, my sister's
Putting you in a
daughter,
better position.
my sister and her husband have been fighting to buy a home in this country for decades. My sister's daughter, when she came of age, migrated to America. My sister's daughter is paying down on her first house at 28 years old because she has a job, and the economy of America is designed to push her up and forward. In Trinidad and Tobago, the opposite is true. And you know that. So I'm not even making jokes about it anymore. Going into 2020, I tell Trinidad and Tobago this election here, we either end up in office or I gone. I am not wasting another 5-year chunk of my life under PNM or UNC. No way, no how.
And to achieve that cannot be an issue of black beating African people alone. All the people who have been sold the idea that these two parties in the political monopoly are Indian and African, when they both represent the 1% who is neither, have to be understanding that they have to deal with both. They can't deal with one and fix it. So to do that, that is not an issue of Africans. It's not an issue of Indians.
Boss,
So
are you watching the numbers? Are you watching
I
the
am
numbers?
watching
When you
the
tell
numbers
me,
very
when you
clearly.
try to conflate Afro and Indian problems in Trinidad and Tobago, let's talk realistically. Black people eclipse everybody for murder. Black people eclipse everybody for people behind bars. They lead the way for homelessness, joblessness, squalor, poverty. They own the least amount of properties. They own practically no businesses. Their children fail out of education system. The East Indian community do not have it that bad. Their numbers are not the same. East Indians still own businesses. Their children still getting an education. Black Trinidad and Tobago has been abandoned by its leadership. You have to face this. The black community of Trinidad and Tobago is in a crisis and has been in a crisis for 20 years. All this murder that you just talk about, what percentage black? Of your 536 dead, 500? What percentage black? What percentage pull the trigger?
Which leadership?
Clyde Weatherhead.
Which leadership is theirs? PNM?
This is the point.
So it's not
For believing that the PNM is a black party. Is Franklin Can black? Is Faris Al-Rawi black? Is Stuart Young black? Is Rohan Sinadan black?
And they are not
Is
representing
Paul
black.
Embert black? Is Justin Phelps black? All of these people who shot to the top of the Stuart Young only end up where he ended up because Justin Phelps couldn't. Daryl Smith only ended up where he ended up because Justin Phelps couldn't. The PNM they have a black ceiling. When Token Fitzgerald Hines came to tell the nation that he had a dream that somebody said that Kit Rowley too black to be prime minister, they tell him bullshit. A black face is going to be elected. You will never have anything else run the PNM because a black face has to be put there to fool black people. But the level that controls the country and the money and the economy, they're not black. And black Trinidad and Tobago have to wake up to that fact. The PNM is not a black party.
Neither is the UNC an Indian party.
Boss man, you may say that, and I accept that. I am making no
Because neither of them, if we look at it in those terms,
I told black Trinidad and Tobago that in 1 year,
except they move together.
in 1 year, the economy of the black spend could buy Ansamaka. That is the power of the black economy. What they call black money. Without black labor and black money, Peter George, who say that the Syrians and the 1% or whoever he call himself is the most powerful, without their labor and without their consumption, Peter George back walking down the road with a bolt of cloth on the back. Black Trinidad and Tobago upholds every business in Trinidad and Tobago. They spend with ease. They work hard and then they spend all the money. Black Trinidad and Tobago properly led, their money could have bought 1 year expenses, 1 year of spending, could have bought Clico twice. Where is the leadership for them? Because the UNC, we heard, I can't go and fix them communities because my people will revolt. This is the insanity of Trinidad and Tobago, where we feel half a ship could sink and the other half sail its merry way. We need a political movement that unites all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, red, white, black, green, and every color in between, and give everybody the same hope and opportunity, the same chances, regardless of color, regardless of race, regardless of religion. We need to do that now, because the people who you spoke about, who controlling this economy, I think we have one election left. You put a man like Faris Al-Rawi back as Attorney General, we run out of reasons to have elections in this country. The draconian, reprehensible, human rights eviscerating laws that they have written and passed in this country. I said a Progressive Empowerment Party government has to, out of sheer compassion, abolish and repeal every law Faris Al-Rawi has passed. Because none of them have done what he said that they were supposed to do, and all that they did was to concentrate power in a small 1% of Trinidad and Tobago.
And that is why they came to office in 2015. That was the purpose of the PNM. The night of that election, I told Prakash Ramada and the executive of the COP, they have come back to complete the job Patrick Manning started.
And yet the same people who coordinate 1% money was making contracts under the People's Partnership. The same
Yes.
people.
Because as I said, every
Made
government
hundreds of
has
millions of
represented the
dollars.
same people.
Good. So isn't it time, Clyde, that we truly tried something different? No 1% connections, no recycled politicians. I remember the Congress of the People had some financiers floating around that party, and it used to sicken me. When we formed the Third Force movement, you know what destroyed it? Those same people came and got involved, and I did everything in my power to break it. That I wasn't going to create another illusion for Trinidad and Tobago, because it was myself and Timothy Hammersmith that had started that, and then Gary Griffith joined. That's how the Third Force movement started. The Progressive Empowerment Party's pedigree came out of the ONR, the NAR, the COP, the Third Force movement. It comes out of a desire to bridge all people and to give Trinidad and Tobago a real chance at being a real nation for the first time. You know, as a senior member of the Congress of the People, how we were betrayed and misled by people on top who said one thing and did something else.
And that's a fact. The fact is that as a country, that's our experience for 57 years. Changing that is not a simple task. It's a big task, it's big work. And all the people who are saying similar to what you're saying have to stop saying, I am the solution.
Correct.
And they have to work together.
Correct.
That we are the solution.
And I will be the first political leader to say this. I did not set out for this to be my life. And I would gladly, if you could find me a Jesus Christ, I will be his John the Baptist. I will walk the roads and herald his coming.
We need the apostles.
And you know what I say? You know what I say, Clyde? Because I want to say it clear.
Because
I want you to understand that
you know, it's one of the features of that local government election recently. You had a whole heap of parties, including a regional party in Port of Spain Corporation, and another one with 4 people in Dogo Martin, was it? And so on. And each one of them, the average vote each of the candidates got, and you work it out, was 100 each, right? So by themselves, alone, separately, they cannot achieve defeating PNM UNC conglomerate. Nobody can do it on their own. You have to get everybody together. And not just to defeat the PNM and UNC, you have to have something to replace that. That's a mistake that was made in 2010.
A diversification, no, but a diversification, a decentralization, a repopulation, a redevelopment. Trinidad and Tobago needs to know what the holistic plan, the Progressive Empowerment Party, launched with a sneak peek into the manifesto. 21 policies that has rocked the political directorate and has caused 2 political parties to copy and paste our policies and has slapped together decriminalization of marijuana. The fact that you just said that everybody needs to come together is an absolute fact. But we can't wait for people to get over their egos. We have to go straight to the voter, one by one. And each and every voter in this country have to understand that their vote matters. Their single vote matters. And that they could vote for themselves a better country. That they could start the ball rolling.
Yeah? That is what I said when we spoke before we started.
Felicia Holler opened the door wide.
The question of leadership.
Mr. Clyde Weatherhead.
And we believe
that you have a massive contribution to make. So
and I am making it.
We are going to wrap this up now. Akila Bermudez, closing comments.
I am looking forward to general election 2020. I'm really, really excited. I know that PEP is going to do we're going to do a really, really good job. And I don't know, happy holidays, have a good new year. I'm just so sleepy right now.
Good job, Felicia. Bring us back to laugh.
There was one point that I didn't get to touch on
Well,
in my
touch on-
review, and I'm not even going to linger on it, but that $89 million renovation of the
Right.
President's house, that was a complete
You all wanted to talk about that. You could
absolute
talk about
waste.
it.
No, I mean, it was just, bottom line, was a waste of taxpayers' money, and I would say the elitism of it, the way she bandied the opportunity to visit the president's house. I think there's a lottery system where you can win a visit, and I don't know, just the way that it was done, it reminded me a lot of colonial days, and we are the peasants who must hope and pray for an opportunity to visit with the colonizer.
Our own building.
To visit. And I mean, when you look at the fact that $89 million and what that could have possibly done, I mean, inject that into renovating the hospital, the Northwest Regional Hospital, Port of Spain General Hospital in itself is such a mess. I mean, you think about that and you compare it to what she said, that looking at the president's house should give us pride. I mean, somebody said it so perfectly. Pride, things that would instill pride in a Trinbagonian is actually having a healthcare system that works, you know?
Value in your pocket.
Value in your pocket. And it was just one of the most things that resonated with me, probably because it was so recent. Going forward though, it's almost 2020. We're here, Olia's Day, trying to wrap up what was a very dismal year in review, if you ask me.
Patrick Watson said it was a failure.
Absolute failure. And 2020, I'm of course looking forward to Pep throwing its hat in the ring. That's the correct phrase. I'm looking forward to Pep making a showing at the next general election. We have been, this is what we have been, building up for. This is the climax coming now. The past 3 years of work and more for some other people. And I'm very much looking forward to that this year because, like I said earlier, this can't continue, and this is our one shot at trying to change what we have known as bad governance in the past, well, for me, 20 odd years, and for people like Philip,
57, 60, something.
57 years. Sorry, I had to train a job. Again, season's greetings and Happy New Year, everybody. Looking forward to having you with us come 2020.
I forgot to
That's
ask
what
both
I
of
meant
you.
to say.
Yeah,
What's
that's
that?
plagiarizing. I forgot to ask, so I'll send it back to Akila. What's your resolution 2020?
I don't know. You see, I think that's
Are you going to be
where-
a better version of you?
No, I don't like New
Is a
Year's
better version of you
resolution
possible?
because it's like I don't think New Year's resolutions is actually realistic. Because if you can't do it today, like if you want to eat healthy and it's like you pass something,
Humorous.
Highway.
like no,
Humorous.
seriously, I
So
feel
no
like
resolutions.
I don't have any because I'm already doing it.
Alright.
Oh.
Felicia, what's your resolution?
Mind my own business and cream my heel. I
You can't steal that.
I saw that somewhere. I had to steal it. I like
That
a
is
killer.
hilarious.
I don't really make New
Year's
Year's resolutions,
resolutions.
but I have a new haircut and I'm gonna be the boss. BITCH come 2020.
BSCH.
BITCH.
Okay, that was funny.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So the closing comments and your resolution.
Oh my gosh.
After all of that.
Why are we
I think we should have started the show with that.
closing comments? Well, for 2019, I have to say we dealt with a local election that made no sense. We have water tanks that we're not even using, light bulbs that just also not even
Illuminating
using.
nothing.
$89 million President House. Obviously, it could have been done for a much cheaper price, and we are pretty much sure about that. $400 million Red House renovation. That's an even greater icing on the cake right there. They have the fracture of Petrotrin is what I would like to call it. Also, our $100 changeover and our weed package. Woohoo! Trinidad and Tobago
Yes,
2019.
2020.
Awesome!
Up and
And you
So
know,
amazing.
I'm being very very sarcastic about that. Look, Trinidad and Tobago, we're putting the information out to you, and it's for you to pick sense out of the nonsense, and the next step is yours. You are the one who have to find out more information, know for fact exactly what we're presenting is real and it's not another pie in the sky, because I'll tell you, I thought so myself a couple of years ago, and I took the initiative on my own to come down to 19 Stanmore Avenue on a Saturday to see Philip, talk to him, and talk to the present executive at that point, in getting more information and knowing for fact exactly how this is going to work, how I can actually benefit and my family going down the road. And I was sold because, again, it's all about numbers, it's all about factual information and knowing exactly how it's going to be done. There has not been a political institution that's been able to present that to the public space, whether it be on a podium or within their internal offices. And I take my hat off in being a part of, and I'm very proud to be a part of the Progressive Empowerment Party, and I look forward very, very much for 2020 election. Most definitely, I do believe that we will take it. Again, it is all up to you, Trinidad and Tobago. If you do want betterment, the choice is yours. We are here. This political vehicle is yours. It's definitely for the people. It's not for the 1%ers. And just out there for the 1% and corporate class, the Progressive Empowerment Party does have a plan for you to ensure your survivability and to make sure things are on the up and up and you make money. And in that same breath, we want to ensure that the small man on the ground also is able to be within that same fray of things. Where my resolution is concerned, I would have to kind of follow up on Akila there.
No,
I really
you can't.
don't. No. I don't have directly a resolution. The only resolution that
Stop smoking.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, Tony, we're gonna make it quit this year.
Why you on me, boy?
Because he cares.
No.
about you.
Definitely, that would definitely be a resolution of mine. I do have a bad habit, and
You can smoke
yes.
it to take grams.
I can smell my 20 grams.
Yeah, you can switch over.
I love it now. No, but seriously, my resolution for 2020 is for me, myself, and I to put our best foot forward in ensuring the success of the Progressive Empowerment Party and its agenda and bringing betterment to Trinidad and Tobagonians.
Amen. Clyde, closing comments and resolution.
2019 is the year of the biggest PNM budget in the last 5 years, $53 billion. It's the biggest spend by the PNM on a local government election, several $100 million. It's the biggest sell of ideas about what things would achieve. And I'm reminded this week by our goodly Attorney General that in 2020, all the laws that we have passed for the last 5 years will begin to work next year. It seems that everything that has been getting it done will suddenly get done next year. That's what the message has been this year. We didn't reform local government, but if you vote us back next year, it will happen in 2020. It didn't work this year because we only brought the bill in May or June to the Parliament. But we blaming it on property tax, on the UNC, on the this, that. So 2019 has been a year of excuse for going nowhere by our government. 2020 cannot be another year like that. For the people of Trinidad and Tobago, our right to a decent life, our right to know, all of our rights have to be guaranteed, but they cannot be guaranteed by the UNC or the PM. My view is that in 2020, unless a united front of all who say they want to put Trinidad first, and a lot of them who are saying that don't mean it, unless they get together behind a single program to take this country forward, we're going nowhere. There was an alternative program in 1962. It was presented by Pegasus. Williams defeated it before it started. And that's where we ended up now. The alternative to what is there now, many people have ideas about what it should be. You all are presenting ideas of what you think it should be, but you're not alone. And people have maybe the nuances of some ideas, but unless we all get it together, we're not going to succeed.
So Clyde, let me just say this thing, right? Let's say the opportunity presented itself for you to be the bridge to conversation.
I am trying that all for 2 years now.
Okay, good. Carry on.
And I'm carrying on.
No, I mean...
And in 2020, if I have a resolution, it is simply to do more to try and create that.
Well, the Progressive Empowerment Party will willingly give you space in any of our offices to have meetings with all the people who are interested in our Country First agenda so that we could all start. We don't have much time. We don't have much time. So we will talk a little more about that.
Yeah, because you know what the choice is in 2020? The choice is either we're going to have a government that is going to impose a definite draconian fascist regime in this country, or we're going to not have that and have something that empowers the people of this country. That is the choice. It's not about PNM or UNC, about this or that, about black.
No,
or
you
this.
have to
It is
vote
about
a
that.
government into office disconnected from that 1%.
And that opportunity is plenty work.
Yep.
That work has to go on all over the place.
Yep.
That's what, if we learn anything from the quote-unquote UNC strategy in the local government election, going and talk a million times in the media and publishing every 2 minutes on the newspaper, or every 5 minutes there's an ad on the radio, is not going to cut it. People have to see you, touch you, listen to you directly
On the ground.
on the ground.
What's your resolution?
And we have 8 months.
What's your resolution?
That's my resolution,
Good.
to make that happen.
What's yours, Phil?
Yeah, I'm like,
Waiting.
waiting.
This will be interesting.
My resolution is to convene panels that don't include these three again.
Which to your point, isn't it?
That's so bad.
My resolution. Well, first of all, I would like to close by underscoring everything that was said by all of these people. We say it, we keep saying it, we keep saying it, we come on the ground and say it and drill it home. The issue is all of us on a Better Trinidad and Tobago. The issue is all of us working together for Better Trinidad and Tobago. There's no other overarching issue than that. If we can't get ourselves together to actually work together for a better country, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose it. Countries like Venezuela, Somalia, Rwanda, Haiti, the countries that fail and fail overnight, and they didn't fail by accident. It's a deliberate plan to fail them. Do not let that be. This blessed paradise, don't let that be Trinidad's story. My resolution.
Be nice.
Am I not nice? Then
The
without,
dimples is not
Not
enough.
going on Murray Street anymore.
without politics, I have no stress. All of my stress is politics. I don't get angry. I have no anxiety. I have no stress if I don't have politics in my life. This, I mean, Clyde could tell you carrying the burden a lot longer than me. This is not something that anybody wakes up in the morning and says, yes, back in the Austin. It's not. It's always, all right, let me see what happened in the couple of hours I was asleep. And it's dealing with a people and trying to get them to understand that it's not about me or it's not about us, it's about them, it's about all of us. And that's the real job, because the day we get that critical mass to understand that the country is more important than the party or the person, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
Trinidad has more blessings than any other country in the world. Trinidad could be one of the richest nations on the planet. Trinidad, and still, even without the oil and gas, still we could be. Singapore, whose economy is now more competitive than the United States of America. Singapore is half the size of Trinidad and Tobago. They don't have no oil or gas. So we could do it. My resolution for Trinidad and Tobago, for me, for 2020 is, I really have a couple pounds that drop and I'm working on that. So that's my resolution. And I know that the solution is to cut back on the roti and the doubles and the polori and all the flour. So me and Flour are going to have a battle, and I'm going to be doing it.
Flower.
I'm going to be doing it publicly. I'm going to set a goal of a target per month, and I'm going to show Trinidad how my mind works. Because even something like that if I set a goal, I'll stick to and achieve it. My resolution for Trinidad and Tobago is to work even harder at getting this message of hope out so that we could start to dream again. So that we as a people could start to believe again. Because I think that's what we need. We need to infect people with hope. And that's my resolution, to do everything that I can to get people to believe that this could be a better country. Yeah? So, this was our year in review. It was meandering, but it touched on the major issues. And I'd like to thank everybody who joined us for the panel. And that includes Akila, Felicia, Clyde and Tony, as well as Professor Watson, who joined us on the phone. I'd like to thank all of you who are watching this video, all of you who are moved by this video to send a donation, to come and join, to make yourself available. Welcome aboard. All of you who just share the video virally to get everybody into the conversation, because that's what we need. We need more people talking, better TNT. This most likely is the last show for 2019. So until next year.
Which is tomorrow.
Can we all sing it?
What should be tomorrow? What?
Until next year,
Stay
safe, Trinidad and Tobago.
And all the best for 2020.